come in.
No, when I go to the doctor and it says like occupation, I just write performer.
Yeah.
And I used to write internet creator, and then I was worried that sounded like a euphemism.
Sure.
Or it sounded like you created the internet.
Either way, it just simply wasn't true. So
I used to use creator, but then everybody thought I was God. So I had to stop doing that.
You've got the look.
Hello. Whoa.
Hello, whoa, 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 whoa.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Excellent. So if you're here, our panelists today probably need no introduction. And I actually don't even know that
We still get one, though, right?
Of course. The men, the myth, the legends. No, but I was going to say, it's quite hard to not introduce you because you're such sort of Renaissance men doing so many things. It's podcasts, it's books, it's live shows.
It's too much.
It's never. There's no such thing. But
I painted the Mona Lisa, too. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
Never gets credit.
You look great for your age. You look great for your age. But
He's 23.
23. I mean, fantastic. You're going to need to give me your skincare regimen.
I only look like this all the time.
So please give me a huge round of applause for Clint and Travis McElroy today. So how things are going to run, this is a sort of loose Q&A format. So I'm going to chat for a while just while we get warmed up, ask some of my burning questions, but obviously we want to hear from you. There is a microphone to the left there. I'll let you know when we're ready for you guys to start queuing up the microphone with your questions, so get ready, get your courage. Did you want to give further instructions?
So, I like to just establish when we do that, when you line up, let's try to keep it to 5 people at a time so nobody's like waiting a long time and then doesn't get a chance to ask their question, because that would be disappointing. And I don't want you to walk away with that feeling.
And I especially don't want you hunting us down through the rest of the convention.
Especially if you're playing the most dangerous game.
Yes.
But when you do, if you want to give your name and your pronouns and then ask your question, line up 5 at a time so when someone's done, you can stand up, that kind of thing, so nobody's waiting too long.
Amazing. Yeah. So let me start by welcoming you guys to London. Is this your first time in London, or it can't be? When was the last time?
My second. I came a few days, 2 years ago, came up and did D&D in a castle.
As one does.
And then came to London to just hang around. I didn't see very much of the city because I stayed mostly in the West End and went and saw that most British of musicals, Back to the Future.
Naturally.
You could go to, you could go to Stratford-on-Avon. You could go to the Globe. You could see some Shakespeare. What do you go see?
Shakespeare's old and
Future.
boring. No one in Shakespeare travels through time.
That's right, and there's no flying cars.
Yeah, come on, Shakespeare.
Spoilers, sorry.
News.
How were their American accents?
They were excellent because they were mostly American.
Oh, were they really?
That's the problem. Americans coming over here, taking your theater jobs. I'm so sorry. This is my 3rd time. I was here for D&D in a castle as well. And then, 5 years ago, maybe? No, 6 years ago, I was here for London Podcast Festival, did Schmanners with my wife. Brought our 1.5-year-old who doesn't remember a single second of it.
Sure. But you'll be like, we took you to London.
Yeah.
This is a picture of you in front of the Tower of London. And so we sort of touched on this of how many hats you all wear. So how do you guys define yourself? Not necessarily like on your immigration paperwork when you come in.
No,
but
when I go to the doctor and it says like occupation, I just write performer.
Yeah.
And I used to write internet creator. And then I was worried that sounded like a euphemism.
Sure.
Or it sounded like you created the internet.
Either way, it just simply wasn't true. So for a while, I also wrote podcaster, but then that felt like everybody's like nephew could write that.
Sure.
And so now it says performer and New York Times bestselling author.
As it should.
Take that, doctor. You think you're so great with your medical degree.
What about you? Do you define yourself?
I'm retired, so I have all kinds of free time. The only problem is during fantasy football season, I spend too much time doing that.
The question wasn't what do you do, it's how do you define yourself.
If someone
You're
said-
not
How do
a
I
fantasy
define
football
myself?
player.
Fantasy football. No.
That's what you say at a cocktail party. You're like, people are like, so what do you do? And you're like, I'm retired and play fantasy football.
I used to use creator, but then everybody thought I was God. So
Sure.
I had to stop doing that.
You've got the look.
No, I usually put down a writer because I think most of the stuff that I do starts at that level. And it's so much different now because when I first started doing the podcast with the boys, my contemporaries, I had to spend the first half hour explaining what podcasting was.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
now that all of you probably have a podcast and everybody has a podcast, it's a lot
And if
easier
you
to
don't,
explain.
make sure to pick up the book Everyone Has a Podcast Except You, written by the McElroy brothers with a foreword by Clint McElroy.
And if you all bought a copy, it would almost double sales. Yeah.
Wasn't the right time for that book to come out.
So talk to me a little bit about working together. I mean, I think it's obvious to, unless you're incredibly good actors, that you adore each other and adore working together. Yeah. Do you ever disagree creatively as creators?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think the biggest disagreement you've ever had creatively is?
Every time we've finished a season of Adventure Zone, we have huge multiple discussions about what the next one's going to be, and it's not creative disagreement so much as it's like trying to see the picture that's in each other's heads.
Right.
Because like inevitably whoever's idea it is has thought through it so much, has the full concept, that then trying to like pitch it in such a way that the other three get it and are immediately on board. So it takes a lot of discussion there. But I mean, even early days when we started doing My Brother and Me and Justin and Griffin all agreed, this sounds so corny, but it's true, that we were like brothers first and then like creators and stuff second.
Yeah.
And so like if anything starts to get too heated, we're like, man, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We'll figure something else out.
Do you operate like a power of veto or anything like that? Like anything specific, or do you just sort of organically figure it out?
No, I think usually I think that if it's usually unanimous. I mean, by the time we get done, because it's become a series of pitches, but then we refine those pitches, and usually I don't think we've ever had I don't think we've ever said no, we're not going to do that. But I think that once we get on board with something, it's a consensus, and I think we all get on board with it.
It sounds like I'm making a joke, but if you've ever listened to the My Brother and Me Naming of the Year episodes, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Right? Where you throw out a bunch of stuff, and it's like, no, not that, not that, not that. And then like 45 minutes passes, and it's like, actually, that thing we talked about 45 minutes ago, I kind of love it now. And like that's usually how it goes, of like talking about things enough until it sparks something, and then it's like, oh, wait, we just found it.
Okay.
We went out to L.A. to film Dimension 20, and while we were out there, we went out to dinner one night, and that's where Travis said, "I want to talk to you about my idea," and that was what led to Graduation. And what was
The
great,
best arc of Adventure Zone, everyone agrees, unanimously.
But that process was really, because we spent the entire dinner talking about it, refining it, and making alterations that everybody agreed on. But that was kind of the birthplace of that. So it was like, our own version of a pitch meeting. And let me tell you something, pitch meetings can be horrible when you're doing them with other people.
Honestly, that's it. Is at this point, like, I don't want to do it with anybody else. Like, this happened when Justin and Griffin and I were on at midnight, where, like, they assigned us each writers to help us, like, come up with jokes, and we all separated in, like, 3 different rooms and could not do it. And eventually I had to find the showrunner and be like, could we, the writers are lovely.
Go get my brother!
Yeah, could the writers possibly go away?
Yeah.
And just let the 3 of us sit down for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll find all the jokes, and then we'll come back and do them. and that was the only way we could do it.
So would you say that every time that you've approached a project, like your creative inception is different? Because listening to sort of the different arcs of the Adventure Zone and things, for me, a lot of the time it seems to come from like the setting or a particular that is sort of a particular thing of like, oh, we've never done this before, or do you find that sometimes you approach it from a character point of view, sometimes a genre point of view? Because I always feel that the settings are so jump out at me.
We usually, like, if there's a genre we want to work in, I think that we kind of express our desires of what we want to do. The coolest time we had was Ether Sea, because we took what was
A quiet year.
a quiet year. Have any of you ever done a quiet year? You do a quiet year, and it created our universe for us. Griffin had a basic idea about underwater society and a terrible cataclysm that led to that underwater society. And then we played the Silent Year, and it was...
Quiet year.
We didn't... A quiet year. A Silent Year would
Silent
not
Year's
be
the
that
sequel.
much fun as a podcast, would it? No.
That's the really zen sequel.
And that was a very cool time. We enjoyed the creating of it, and we kind of had this universe that it was very unique to us.
I think, and it also kind of works because the four of us approach things in a very different way, where I think I come up with ideas much more thematically, where Griffin likes settings and concepts like that, and Justin likes a game system that like gets in him, and I think Dad likes the story of what the thing is, and so like when it's usually a lot of like the kind of brainstorming sessions are us talking about the thing until each of us sparks on like one of those things in the idea, and it's like, wait, okay, now I see it. Now I get what it is. It could be this and this and this.
That's such an incredible alchemy, because I'm here because I'm a super fan, but in my day job I'm a author, and like I know so many authors who have just cried from any input from anyone else, or like their editor left one note and they're like, but I can't do it. So the fact that you guys are able to work so collaboratively is incredibly impressive.
Well, I think since we all four have pretty strong theater backgrounds, the collaborative nature of what we do, not only internally, but when we work with other people, like adapting the graphic novels, and when we've tried to adapt to TV shows, being a good collaborator, I think is kind of the key to that, and I think that kind of comes from our theater backgrounds quite a bit.
I'd love to, so I want to get to the questions soon, but so that we have plenty of time.
Can you guys all hear us okay?
Can everyone hear? Thumbs up at the back? Great.
Okay.
I just want to take a second to acknowledge that our dad talked about that we collaborate well because of our theater backgrounds, and not because we've all known each other for 40-some years, because we share DNA. No. It's the theater thing.
Do we really know each other, though, Trav?
Yeah, dude. Way too much.
Okay. Good point.
So I'm going to get to questions from the audience soon. So if people want to start being brave and queuing up, it's always a brave person who asks the first question. But before we get there, I'd love to touch on the graphic novels a little bit, speaking of sort of collaboration. Might understand that you're the sort of touch point on those, the principal thing, and how much input does everyone have?
I was the one that had the experience in writing comic books, because I wrote comics back in the 80s with unforgettable, classic worldwide successes like Blood is the Harvest and Green Hornet, Dark Tomorrow, and the inappropriately titled Illegal Aliens, which was a takeoff on Aliens, not a build-the-wall thing. And so I had experience in how to format comics and things like building to a peak at the end of a page, and how to establish timing and stuff. So I was kind of the point man when it came to the technique, but they all four really embraced it and have. My input has been reduced greatly.
Now, basically, the way that it ends up working out is that Dad does like structure, and Griffin will do story, because it's balanced, it's his, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is like making like him having to think about what needs to be set up in what book to connect to where, what we can move around, that kind of thing. And then Justin and I do a lot of character work, where it's like, that doesn't sound right. I don't like the way that this interaction plays out when you can't hear it, when you're just reading it.
Right.
So can we change this to soften it up a little bit or make it clearer? A lot of it, honestly, is like Justin and I going through, because of it being our characters, and a lot of it being like, that's not how Taco would say that. That's not how Magnus would say that. And then that kind of developing into like the interactions between the characters feeling off and stuff like that. Because Justin and I aren't writers the way that Griffin and Dad are.
Yeah.
Like we just don't think the same way. So they handle like first draft of the script, and then we go through and like give notes on that. But Justin and I end up being like in later, stages of it, the ones with the most notes. Because like now it starts to feel weird now that we can see it, and now that we're like reading it with the pictures, because we're children. That's where we can finally picture it.
But the initial input, though, the initial story and things that you guys did have impact on because you were creating those characters.
Right.
And what I do is adapt what we had in the podcast, and then the next phase is adding on. So. And
how much input did you get over what your characters looked like on the page? Did you like, this doesn't look like the picture in my mind at all?
We kept it pretty vague.
The only note I think I ever gave Carrie for character design was his beard should be bushier.
Completely valid note.
I think that his beard was like very close at first, and I was like, no.
What is Magnus Burnside without the beard?
He needs bushy sideburns and beard. That's it. And past that, like, because we started working with Carrie because she and another creator's name is escaping me, did the Adventure Zine that raised money for a food bank, and the character designs in that were like such a good, like, yes, this is the direction we're going. And I think it's so funny now because like whenever I see people do Magnus cosplay, he has the scar across his eye. That was never described by me. That was something Carrie started drawing. I don't know if she created it or if other people have done it before, but at this point, like, when I do Magnus, I'll do a scar across the eye. I'm like, yeah, that feels right. Yeah, you nailed it.
Carrie is a huge part of the Adventure Zone. Carrie Peach, our artist, but she's more than that. I mean, she knows more about the Adventure Zone than the four of us combined. And so she's really been the heart of the graphic novels.
Amazing. And they're for sale at Forbidden Planet, by the way, if you haven't checked out the graphic novels yet.
It's for sale in this country?
It is. You can buy them just from across the way at Forbidden Planet. I ran and got one, another copy earlier, because my friend was like, could you get one signed for my wife? So we'll move to questions now. Yes, can we have your name, your pronouns, and your question?
Hi, I'm Tim, he, him. My partner was actually one of the people who bought Everyone Has a Podcast, but you. So, well done. I actually have like a 2-year-old little hellion running around at home. How do you like find time to balance like running around after tiny humans whilst like doing creative stuff?
I mean, honestly, it's my job, and like that's the thing. We've been doing it now for long enough, and like Justin, his oldest is 10, if I remember correctly. And so it's difficult to shift the mindset because when you're doing creative stuff, right, and some of it's like, doing like Clubhouse where we sit down and play video games, or you're sitting there looking at drawings on your screen, or, talking about T-shirts that you're going to do, whatever, it can feel like, oh, I'm just sitting here and I'm doing this fun thing and I feel terrible. But, like, that's what a job is. And I think it's important when you have a creative job, especially one that's like your main thing that like pays the bills and stuff, to not get in your head about like, oh, I'm doing this and there's the more important things I could be doing, because I think that that's a really great way to not hit deadlines and not finish the thing. Whereas if you can tell yourself like, this is the work I do and I'm very lucky to do it. That's the thing I try to think about is like, yes, I'm sitting in my office in my home, playing video games with my brothers at noon on Tuesday. But the other option is like going to an office and being away from 8 to 5 and, getting called in on the weekends or whatever. And if I think about it like that, even being away to do creative stuff or traveling, today is BB's birthday and I'm here, which is very, very difficult, but it's part of my job, right? And I get to be here with you guys and get to do this thing that's very special. And so like, it's all a balance for stuff like that, and trying to understand that like any work requires sacrifice and it just doesn't always look the same.
And in my job as a grandfather, it's a piece of cake. Because that's what I give them, pieces of cake. I load them up with sugar, let them play bloody, violent video games, and then I take them home. It's a great scenario for me.
The only video game my daughter plays is Kirby Forgotten Lands. So,
Oh,
like,
that's
graphic.
Evisceration.
He eats
in
everyone.
Kirby.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your question. Hi.
Hello. I'm Matty. I'm they, them.
Hello.
Question for, I guess, both of you. Who would win in a fight? Magnus halfway through Balance or Aubrey at the end of Amnesty?
At the end of Amnesty?
At the end of Amnesty.
I mean, Aubrey, I think, because I don't think Magnus could get close enough to hit her. Like, because, I mean, as a tank, right, and she's
Of course,
a
rushing
caster,
in.
like, you need another caster to, like, somehow combat that.
Or, you know, someone to heal you.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
I wish Magnus had someone to heal him. God, that'd be nice. Yeah, I think if you had said Magnus at the end, that'd be like, oh, Magnus. I mean, because by that point, having
Poisoning,
the Chance
poison-
Lance and, the
Raging
Raging
Poisoning Sword of Doom.
that one.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember if it's Raging Flaming Poisoning or Raging Poisoning
It's one of
Flaming.
them.
It's one of those. But I think Aubrey, by the end, as a caster, would kick his butt.
Excellent.
Same.
I concur.
Cheers.
Good
you.
question. Thanks.
Oh, hi, I'm Ross. He, him. Just want to ask both of you, obviously, you've been doing writing for a long time, obviously, Clint for a bit longer. As writers over the years, what would you say is like the most important thing you've learned as writers and creators?
I would say for me, it's figuring out the way that writing works best for you instead of trying to do it the way other people do it and then judging yourself for it not working as well. Because, like, for me, if I sit down and just start typing a thing, I immediately feel stupid and worthless and that the thing I'm writing is bad and I won't finish it. But if I sit down and talk about it, if I tell my wife the idea and she'll let me go on and on because she is lovely and wonderful and supportive, then I'll find it, right? Because I talk out loud. Oh, yeah, I talk out loud. I write out loud. And for a long time, I'd sit down at the computer and try to type and be like, I'm just not as good at this as other people and I'm bad at it. And then I realized, like, that was because I wasn't doing it the way that worked for me.
And I think that along those same lines, I think writing for yourself is the best way to go. I think write something that you would like to read. And I think that a lot of it comes from the fact that I think if you try to write a certain way, I'm a terrible deadline guy. Terrible deadline guy.
Yeah.
And I have to mull something over for a long time. But when it does kick in, to sit down and do it, to actually take that moment of inspiration.
That's because Dad has undiagnosed ADHD.
That's true.
Yeah,
Fortnite.
Same.
I think that if you have stories that are just dying to get out, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter a bit if anybody else would like it. If it's a story that has to get out from you and you have to create it, if it's pleasing to you, you've already found an audience, and hopefully other people will find an audience. I can't believe we have this many people here. Woo! I think it's wonderful.
I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
But yeah.
There's other people in line, Clint.
Yeah, okay, the end.
Thank you both very much.
I'm
Thanks
like
for
Monty
your question.
Python, I never end a sketch.
Next.
Hello, my name is Anders, and my pronouns are they, them.
Hello.
So, you know how a lot of video games have like a New Game Plus mode?
Yeah.
Where you play again with all of the items and skills, etc. that you got. If there was a campaign of the Adventure Zone that you could play with all of the skills and knowledge and items that you had at the end, which one would you choose and why?
Of any Adventure Zone?
Yeah.
I would do Steeplechase again in a heartbeat, because I didn't figure out who Beef Punchley was for like 2/3 of the way through. Where it was like, I think when I started playing him, I got in my head about like, is this too much like Magnus? Is he too much like Magnus? And it got way in my head about it. And then I really like landed on it by the end, and I was like, okay. And I would do that one again. And also, graduation. I know so much more about DMing now than I did at the time, and I would change a lot and save a lot of that if I could.
I think I'd redo Commitment, which was the superhero arc that I did, because I was the dumbass that followed Balance with Commitment, and so that could have gone so much better. But I think I would re-examine that, because we really, by the time we got done with that, we had fun. I think someday we'll go back to doing Commitment, and I really want to go back to do the, we did using the Marvel Superheroes RPG. I would like to do that again. So can I put that on you want me to pitch it to you now?
No.
Okay.
I also wouldn't have made Devo French. I think that was a big choice.
A good and bold choice.
Yeah. Other than that, no changes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hiya.
Hi, I'm Jack, he, him. I was actually wondering if discussion about tone is something that comes up when you're pitching Seasons of the Adventure Zone, because obviously you get campaigns like Amnesty, which are a lot more story-focused, versus Taz vs. Dracula, which is a lot more like having fun, goofing around, a lot less plot sort of stuff. And I was wondering if that was something that you discuss ahead of time, or if it comes up naturally through the playing.
In the case of Taz versus Dracula, it was definitely intentional. I mean, we've enjoyed all the arcs we've done, but by the time it came where we got to the point at the end of, was Steeplechase right before? Steeplechase was a lot of fun, but you find yourself as the game master, you know, it's very hard work reaching the conclusion. And I think when we went into Taz, we said, you know what, let's do Taz versus Dracula. Let's just get back to not caring about the tone, and let's just have a blast with it. The key for us has always been entertaining each other. If the four of us loved it and laughed at it, roll the dice and hope other people also feel that way. But there have been times where we said, you know what, let's play something that's a little bit more intense or a little darker, and those generally, but it does find its own tone.
I would disagree with you slightly.
Okay.
Because I don't think that we talk about things being darker so much as we talk about them being more realistic.
Okay, yeah.
Because like when we went into Amnesty, because it was set in the real world kind of feeling, there were consequences a lot more than like in Balance and in Dracula, the feeling of like whimsy of like, yeah, you can make a choice and do a wild thing, and it's not like you're going to be arrested for crashing the cart into the gate or whatever, right? Whereas in Amnesty, if we were to steal a car, that's going to impact the way that those things work. And that is definitely a discussion that we have ahead of time. But I think especially some of the earlier campaigns, we didn't talk about tone enough before it started. So we'd find it by like episode 4, right? And then be like, oh, okay, this is it.
And a lot of it is dictated by the game system. I think, you know, what we play in Amnesty,
Monster of the Week.
Monster of the Week. That dictates a little bit more of that detail-oriented, realistic way of playing, because there are consequences for what you do built into the game. And so sometimes the game system helps define that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Great outfit.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Car. They, he, kind of. So I wanted to ask some more, like, completely off-topic questions.
Please.
My first question is, are you aware that in every single Instagram post, you have your mouth open?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the thing. For a long time, it was being very self-conscious about having my picture taken a lot and not knowing what face to make. And so I was like, this is a face that feels very engaged, and I can hit it every time and not think about it. And then I realized that makes me look like a Muppet. And
No, you're
so
great.
I was like, let's find a different way to do this and just actually be engaged in the photograph instead of looking engaged in the photograph.
And then the next question that I have is about the minor characters named after like people. Do you like? Do you kind of like remember more of those, specifically Jade Johnson Esquire from Graduation, the lawyer from Hope?
Yeah.
She can't be here today, but I do know her in
Oh,
person.
that's awesome.
So cool.
So
Well, tell her she owes us royalties.
Yeah, we had to stop doing that in case like one of the players decided to like kill an NPC, and then it'd be wild that we're like attacking a listener. And we were like, you know what? I could see this becoming way more problematic than maybe we would have imagined in the beginning.
Thanks for your question.
thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Back to back, Magnus's.
Another 10 out of 10 outfit.
How we doing, boys?
Hello.
Name's Joe.
Joe, can you get up on the microphone a little bit
sorry,
more?
man.
Oh, it's okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank
Great.
you.
Just wanted to ask, in balance, favorite NPC, favorite spell?
Favorite NPC, favorite spell. My favorite spell, that one's easy, is when Justin, it's actually a tie between Spectral, Spectral Steed? Whatever, when he did, either when he did Geralt or Dupree, he turned into the giant T-Rex. Both of those made me so happy and continue to do so every time I think about them. My favorite NPC was, it feels like the obvious answer to me, but it's Angus, because I think Angus was most like an avatar for Griffin, and I think the reason, he started in Rockport Limited, and it was a chance for him to be like, what are you guys doing? Why would you say that? What are you talking about? That's a wild thing to say. And gave Griffin this in-universe way to be like, no, don't do that. And it was very fun. It's why I think we immediately went to kind of bullying him. And then we were like, you're so mean to a child. I'm like, no, it's Griffin. You don't understand.
Really bad optics when it's a 10-year-old kid.
When we were doing the graphic novel, we're like, this plays a lot different when it's not Griffin doing it. Oh, we need to soften this up a little bit.
You know, it's funny, but my opinion has changed. Angus would be my first choice, but since he stole that, on rereads and re-listens, I find Lucretia very compelling. And you know, it's funny because as we've made attempts at adapting balance into other media in television and movies, we have always found that surprisingly Lucretia becomes a more central character.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we knew how central she was going to be when we started the podcast. And she was she was a linchpin. She really kind of held a lot of the action. And I found her very compelling. Especially her taking a mud bath with Merle, which endeared her in my heart.
Thank you very much. We're going to cap the line at these people so that nobody has to stand up and wait and not get their question. So we only have 6 minutes left. And we're going to move a little quicker through your 4 questions so none of you have to stand there and not get your question answered. Okay.
Hi, my name's Blue, he, him.
Hello.
First off, have you seen this week's Bake Off?
I haven't yet. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Will do. Secondly, I'm planning to run my first one-shot in the coming weeks. I wanted to know if there was any particular one-shot that you feel is your favorite, be it like Honey Heist or something similar.
Do you mean a system or one that we've done?
Any one-shot that is...
Roll for Shoes is an amazingly fun one-shot that is so loose and open, and literally you start with one skill and it's roll for anything, and you roll, and if it works, then you get added skills to that. But it depends on what you're looking for though, because if you're looking for it to be a group of friends just getting together and have a wild, chaotic time, Roll for Shoes is great. if you're like, I want to introduce people to role playing and get this into it, I think things like Honey Heist.
Lasers and Feelings is
Yeah,
real
I would
good.
say Lasers and Feelings falls right in the middle of like they have some experience, don't want to learn a lot of rules, but want some structure. Lasers and Feelings is kind of right in the middle. Honey Heist gives you so many wonderful prompts and like tells you how to do the story. So yeah, it depends on what you want, but those three are kind of my go-to favorites.
Yeah, I think we've done Lasers and Feelings probably more, especially in live shows, because Hootie and the Nannies is basically Lasers and Feelings. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good one to, especially if you're looking to do like a night of fun instead of a long drawn campaign. I'd go with Lasers and Feelings.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
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 You can angle the mic down a little bit if you need to.
Yeah,
There
a
you go.
little. My name's B, she, they, and I was wondering, do you watch or listen to any other TTRPG live play shows? And if so, what are your favorites? Do you have any recommendations?
B, there are no other
That's
TTRPG.
very cute
but-
and simply not true. I love Brennan and everything Brennan does ever, and Never Stop Blowing Up. The season they did recently that was like just absolutely chaotic take on like 80s and 90s action movies was absolutely lovely, and I would highly recommend it. I also recommend Questing Time that my friend Paul Foxcroft runs. That it's very, very good. He and his partner Jess are going to be on that panel with us tomorrow, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, Dimension 20 for me too. I think, and a lot of that, everybody on Dimension 20 that I've ever seen has been tremendous. But there's something special about that redheaded guy.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have more of a statement than a question.
I love that.
As the middleest brother, Travis, obviously you're my favourite because of that.
Thank you.
But Griffin is always best. Though Clint is a great father, and also the British 10-pence piece is the tastiest coin to eat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll
Good
let
night.
Griffin know. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your statement, not question. Final question in the line.
Oh my God.
You got this.
You can angle the mic up now if you need to.
I'll crouch, it's fine.
No,
Oh,
don't
no,
crouch.
your calves.
No.
Okay. Hi, my name's Jay. My pronouns are they, them.
Hello.
And my question is, do you have any plans to adapt any of your other campaigns into other medias like you did with Balance?
Yeah, so we've talked about it a lot. Like Dad has some concepts for Amnesty that I think are really good, and we've talked about different forms of it. You know, the thing is, to kind of circle back all the way back to kind of the beginning of the panel, we do so much that there comes a point where we have to kind of pick and choose what we're going to work on based off of kind of like, it's not even what excites us the most so much as it's like, this is the thing that is like just is the thing, right? That it's like, not only are we excited about it, it also is the right time to do it, and this is the thing. So like Clubhouse is an example of that, right? Where we were already doing like the game streams, and then we wanted to do something, you know, having grown up watching 100 different TV shows that were like, and now we're in our own fun Clubhouse doing wonderful things. We were like, we want to do that too, and it makes sense because we're trying to build up the YouTube stuff, and it makes sense because we've been looking for things to have guests on, and you know, so that is the other thing to go back to the question about being creators with like kids running around, is there is a point at which it is my job can easily overtake the work-life balance to be like, oh, well, now I feel bad not working because, you know, I'm just sitting here on the couch with my kids, like watching a movie or whatever. And it's like, no, that's life. That's the part of the balance that's life, and you need to do that too. And so what we run into is this idea of like, we have, you know, at any given point, 20 ideas for things, half of them adaptations, that if there was all the time in the world, we would be doing them, but we just kind of have to pick and choose.
Yeah, and a lot of that, especially when it comes to TV and movies, is finding the right person that has the passion to write it with your input, so so that you're not the screenwriter. And we've got, it's secret, so don't tell anybody. We've got a couple of things going right now that are adaptations of different arcs and that we have worked on and progressed.
Nothing progressed past discussion stuff. Important to note.
Just the discussion. We've been down that path a couple of times, trust me. But yeah, I think that it's kind of cool because by changing up our arcs on a regular basis and taking on these new things, we're always creating new ideas. I mean, we had a lot of people who have contacted us that said they love Taz versus Dracula and they want to see something else in other media. And that's what we've been doing in our live shows.
Yeah.
Is Taz versus Dracula on all our live shows.
I think the way to kind of think about it is like we used to be captains of one ship, and now we're all admirals, right? And we want to build a fleet, but just having ships without captains that we trust doesn't make any sense. So like the My Brother and Me TV show wouldn't have happened without J.D. Amato as the showrunner for it, right? So like that's an example of like, okay, we feel comfortable building this ship because there's a captain we trust to run it. And like doing the Adventure Zone graphic novel with Carrie and our editor Ben of being like, great, these are the captains that we trust to run this thing. And so we don't have time to captain all the ships. And so it's not just the idea, it's also like the collaborator, if that makes any sense.
It was a hard lesson for Captain Kirk to learn. So I don't think we've learned it yet.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
And before we officially let you go, so you've teased that there's some things coming up that you can't quite tell us about. Is there anything that you'd like
I can't stress enough, there's nothing coming up. There are lots of, we started talking to this person, maybe. We started talking to this person, maybe. I don't want anybody walking away and be like, there's stuff in the pipeline.
Those
there's
are all
not.
teasers.
We haven't even started
pipeline.
building the pipeline.
Is there anything concrete coming up that you'd like to make sure everyone knows about?
If
Be it
anybody's
live
going
show?
to New York at the end of November, I'm going to be doing 20-Sided Tavern, which is very exciting. You could come do that. If you're in New York, I guess. I don't know. I came here. You guys want to come there? I don't know. Whatever.
The 7th and final Taz graphic novel. Go buy the 6th one and buy lots of copies for your friends and family.
Or to balance out furniture.
And yeah, it's wonderfully streamlined like that. But like the 7th one will be coming out summer.
Don't look at me.
The
I don't know what day it is.
7th will be coming out. It's very huge. It is the final.
The 7th will be coming out at a later date.
Yeah, that's good.
2025 is all I
Yeah.
saw online.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But now on a more immediate concern, today at 3:15 we have a photo op. If you would like to join us and get some of those pictures Travis was talking about where he wasn't engaged.
I will be engaged now. I learned how to fake it way better.
And then we are doing a signing at
The
4
key
o'clock.
is to do the big face, but then close my mouth, and it's still locked. I go, and then I'm still locked in.
And I promise that my pants will not look that short in the pictures. I just noticed in the
They'll
monitor.
be even shorter.
God, it looks like I'm.
It's a summer cut. It's all
I've come
good.
from the flood. Our signing at 4 o'clock has been moved to the meet and greet area. If you'd like to join us there. Tomorrow we have a panel at 12:30 with Paul Foxcroft, Damian Haas, Jess Jewell, and Ellen McLeod as we discuss storytelling. A lot of what we've done today, but
Storytelling in non-traditional media.
But
is
we'll
the
try
title.
to do better.
Or less. I don't know.
Maybe. And then we have a photo op tomorrow at 1:45 and another signing at 2:30. So come on out and hang out with us some.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions, all the audience questions. Please join me in giving Travis and Clint a huge round of applause.
And buy her books as well. She is a wonderful author.
Oh, you're so sweet.
But buy our books
and
first.
And a round of applause
Yeah, buy
for our
ours and then
BSL
if-
interpreters as well.
yes,
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, everyone. Have a good rest of your con.